Girl, just pause. Just for a moment. Breathe. And ask yourself, why are you only giving your time, energy, and heart to one person who isn't giving the same back? Why is your entire sense of worth wrapped up in someone who can't even meet you halfway? Why does love today feel more like you're losing yourself than finding something real? Let's talk about it. Not with judgment, but with clarity and truth. Modern dating can feel like a psychological game. Swipe, match, ghost, repeat. And somewhere in that cycle, we start to believe that love is a reward for playing it. Well, that if we just say the right thing, do the right thing, look the right way, they'll stay. But you were never meant to audition for love. You were meant to receive it, freely, abundantly, without conditions. But when we don't believe we're worthy of that kind of love, we settle for the bare minimum. We confuse attention for affection, and we chase people who give us just enough to stay hooked, but never enough to feel secure. And here's the thing. That's not your fault. You're not broken. You're not too much. You're not asking for the impossible. You've just been conditioned to believe that love has to hurt a little to be real. There's a reason why it feels like you're giving your all and still not enough. Why your stomach sinks when they go cold. Why you're always wondering what you did wrong. And here's the truth. It's not always about you. Sometimes, the people we choose are simply not emotionally available or not ready. Sometimes they are drawn to your warmth but can't hold it. And yes, sometimes they enjoy the chase more than the connection. It hurts. I know, especially when you're the one who loves deeply, when you're loyal, when you see potential. But potential isn't love, and almost is not enough. Philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer said something radical, that love, as we know it, isn't always about romance or connection. That biologically, love is a tool of nature, a mechanism to ensure reproduction. That what we call falling in love might just be a chemical cocktail, a rush of hormones and illusion that makes us obsess over someone who isn't even good for us. And while that sounds cold, it's freeing too. Because once you stop romanticizing every attraction, once you stop believing that chemistry equals compatibility, you begin to see clearly. You begin to protect your energy. You begin to ask, does this connection nourish me or drain me? You begin to stop chasing and start receiving. Because real love doesn't make you anxious. It doesn't play hot and cold. It doesn't ask you to prove your worth over and over again. Real love is steady. It's respectful. It's safe. And let's talk about beauty for a moment. Because many of us confuse attraction with alignment. Yes, beauty draws you in. The way she moves, the way she speaks, the spark in her eyes. And it's okay to be captivated. It's human. But if you mistake that captivation for connection, you might end up chasing a fantasy instead of building a relationship. Here's the hard truth. Lust can mimic love, but it cannot replace it. And obsession is not intimacy. It's just fear, wearing a pretty mask. You deserve more than someone who is beautiful but emotionally unavailable. You deserve more than almost. You deserve someone who sees you, truly sees you, and chooses you back with the same depth that you love them. And when you start living from that truth, when you realize your value isn't defined by who wants you, you stop chasing people who aren't meant to stay. You stop romanticizing the unavailable. You stop building a future with people who can't meet you in the present. That's not bitterness. That's wisdom. Because healing is not about closing your heart. It's about opening it wisely. It's about learning to trust yourself so deeply that you no longer need someone else to prove your worth. So if you're in a place right now where love feels more painful than peaceful, I want you to know that's your body, your heart, and your soul asking you to come home to yourself, to focus on your own growth, to date from fullness, not from fear, and to choose connection, not codependency, and most of all, to remember, you are not hard to love. You are just done settling for love that doesn't love you back. So the next time you find yourself chasing someone who's running, stop, turn around, and start walking toward yourself, because the real love of your life, that's always been you. Hollywood told you love was about two souls becoming one. That somewhere out there, someone was made just for you. And that when you found them, everything would fall into place. Cue the music, the rain-soaked kiss, the epic reunion. But real love, it's rarely that cinematic. And as Schopenhauer reminded us, it's not always romantic at all. In fact, it's often raw, selfish, transactional. Not because people are bad, but because we are human. Love, as we often experience it today, is not two complete beings joining in harmony. It's two egos quietly asking, can you fix what I feel is missing in me? It's one person trying not to be alone, and the other trying to feel adored. That's where illusion meets reality. That's where the mask slips. Because love, real love, isn't always selfless. It's not always noble. Sometimes, it's deeply tied to survival, to identity, to the fear of being invisible. Schopenhauer didn't romanticize this. He saw it clearly. We don't love who people are. We love how they make us feel. You think you're chasing someone's heart, but you're really chasing the feeling of being chosen, of being seen, that magnetic high of being wanted. And if that makes you uncomfortable, good, because this discomfort is the gateway to something deeper, truth. He said all romantic ideals are illusions, a biological spell nature casts on us so we'll bond, mate, continue the species. So, what's real then? Respect, boundaries, truth, the ability to walk away from pleasure that costs you peace. Modern love often sounds like this. What can I get from you? How do you make me feel? Do you complete the image I have of myself? But the kind of love that survives, the kind that matures, it asks different questions. Can I sit with you in silence? Can I still respect you when you're not giving me what I want? Can we love each other without needing each other to be anything more than who we are? If the answer to those is no, it's not love. It's a deal, an ego exchange, a performance, dressed up in roses. And here's the part that hits hardest for so many. Every man, at some point, becomes obsessed with a woman, not in a sweet way, in a way that consumes him, a mind-bending, mission-abandoning, peace-destroying kind of pull. That's not love. That's the will to life, weaponized. That's evolutionary drive taking the wheel and convincing you she's the destination. You're not falling for her. You're falling into your programming. And that's the moment you become vulnerable. Not in a soulful, intimate way, but in a way that robs you of power. You begin to orbit her. You lose your center. And she feels it, not just intellectually, instinctively. She hears it in your voice, sees it in your eyes, senses it in the way you abandon your own direction for her validation. And that's when she pulls away. Not because she's cruel, but because attraction fades when grounded masculine presence is replaced with need. Schopenhauer said, "A man who acts from desire is not free. He is a slave to the illusion of fulfillment." So what do? You master your desire. You become sovereign. You admire her, yes. You want her, absolutely. But you never place your peace in her hands, because once you need her to feel whole, you've already lost yourself. And paradoxically, it's that very self-possession, that quiet inner power, that draws her to you. Not your chasing, not your need, but your grounded presence, your ability to stand in your own life fully. Let's end with the truth that most people avoid because it's not romantic, but it is real. The only love that truly lasts. It's the kind that happens when two strong solitudes choose each other, not out of need, but out of deep mutual respect. Not you complete me, but you inspire me. But I'm already whole. And no, that's not a fairy tale. That's not Hollywood. That's something more powerful. That's sovereignty. When you live like that, when you stop trying to earn love and start living with integrity, you don't attract someone who fills your emptiness. You attract someone who adds to your fullness. That's not Schopenhauer being cold. That's Schopenhauer being honest. And honesty, that's the beginning of freedom. So if you've been chasing love that hurts, if you've been caught in the cycle of proving, performing, and losing yourself just to be chosen, it's time to stop. Kill the fantasy, starve the ego, and build a life so full, so anchored, that love becomes a beautiful addition, not your oxygen. Because the kind of love that doesn't destroy you, it starts with you.